My phone won't stop buzzing. 2,847 notifications. Most of them, people telling me I'm the worst daughter in the world. Hi, I'm Ava, 16 years old. 3 weeks ago, I was living what everyone called the perfect life. At least, that's what 2 million people believed. I grew up in a house where the ring lights were always on. My mom is a famous influencer with millions of followers, built on the image of the perfect mother. Gentle, inspiring, always talking about love and sacrifice. In every video, I always appeared next to Mom, smiling at the right moment, saying the right words, wearing the right outfit that had been prepared. Everything had to be perfect. At home, Mom was very strict. She controlled everything, my schedules, my friends, even my emotions. If I was sad, Mom would say, "Don't be negative. People will think I didn't raise you well." If I was tired, she'd only remind me, "Just try a little more for our family image." To Mom, I wasn't just her daughter. I was part of the brand. At school, I got attention because of Mom's fame. Everyone thought I was so lucky, that I was so loved. Only Nina, my best friend, she noticed something was wrong. Nina asked me very simple questions. "Do you really like being in those videos?" I always smiled awkwardly and brushed it off. Ethan was the only person who talked to me like I was normal. He didn't ask about views or drama, just talked about music, homework, everyday things, and I really liked that feeling. But every time Ethan appeared, Mom would notice. She'd start asking very carefully who he was, whether he had a good influence on me. Gradually, I started avoiding mentioning Ethan altogether. It was just easier that way. Everything started to crack when I accidentally came across a video interview of my mom. The reporter asked Mom how she managed to work and still raise such a well-behaved and understanding child. Mom smiled very naturally in front of the camera and said, "She's used to living on my schedule. She understands everything I do is for her future, so she never complains." I stared at the screen, completely frozen. For the first time, I realized my obedience wasn't a choice, but a habit formed from Mom's expectations. The incident happened during a major sponsored live stream. The manager kept reminding that family image was very important. They asked me to say on camera about what I'm most grateful to Mom for. The script was already written, every single word. But when the live stream started, I just sit there, silent. Mom was mouthing the words at me, making urgent hand signals, smiling desperately. But I couldn't speak. The words just wouldn't come out. And then I started crying. Not pretty crying for the camera. Ugly, can't breathe, can't stop crying. I said I was tired, that I didn't hate Mom, but I didn't want to spend my whole life maintaining an image for others. Someone cut the stream, but it was already too late. By that night, I was everywhere, not as the perfect daughter anymore, as the ungrateful one, the girl who ruined her mother's career. The internet split in half. Team Ava, Team Mom, like we were characters in some reality show, not real people with real pain. Old videos were dug up, analyzed frame by frame, looking for proof of whatever story people wanted to believe. Mom lost the brand deal, then another partnership, then another. Brands don't want controversy. They want perfect families. But the real pain, it came after that. Our house became a silent war zone. She stopped forcing me to be in videos, but she'd say these cold little things in passing. "Are you satisfied now? It's only because of you that I became like this." One night, I couldn't take it anymore. I just grabbed my jacket and left. I needed to clear my head. I wandered the streets for hours, waiting for my phone to ring, waiting for her to call, to text, to ask where I was. But nothing. Just silence. It was almost midnight, and my mother hadn't even noticed I was gone. When I finally came back, the house was still lit up. For just a second, I thought maybe she'd been worried. Maybe she'd been looking for me. But no, she was just on the phone in the living room, still talking business, still managing the crisis. I stood in the doorway, frozen, as I heard my name. Mom's voice was so calm, so familiar, like she was discussing a content strategy. If Ava agrees to post an apology video, says she was just overwhelmed, teenage emotions, then we can spin this. The manager on the other end said audiences are very forgiving if the story is told the right way. And Mom was nodding, actually considering it. That's when it really hit me. Even this, even my breakdown, even my pain. It was all just content to her. I walked in. She saw me. The guilt on her face lasted maybe 2 seconds before she tried to explain, and that's when the biggest fight we'd ever had broke out. Mom said she had sacrificed everything for me, her time, her energy, her whole life. I was shaking, but I told her the truth. I said, "You didn't give up everything for me, Mom. You gave up me for everything else. I don't hate you because you wanted me to be perfect. I hate that you made me believe I wasn't worthy of love unless I was." That's when she broke. Really broke. Not camera-ready tears. Real ones. Ugly ones. The kind you can't fake. She sat down heavily, hands over her face, and for the first time, it wasn't in front of an audience. It was just us. She told me she was terrified of being forgotten. Terrified that without the followers, without the likes, without the attention, she'd be nothing. No fame, no money. We sat in that huge, picture-perfect living room. The same room where we'd filmed hundreds of videos, and it had never felt more empty. The next morning, I heard her in the bathroom. Her phone camera was on. She was staring at herself in the mirror for the longest time. Her finger hovered over the Go Live button. I could almost see her rehearsing the apology, the explanation, the perfect redemption story. But then, she closed the app, put the phone down, and walked away. That evening, she knocked on my door. I could hear her standing there for a while before she worked up the courage. When she came in, there was no phone in her hand, no camera, no ring light, no script, just her. We sat on the edge of my bed, not quite touching, but closer than we'd been in months, and she asked me something she'd never asked before. "What do you want to do next?" I didn't have an answer. I'd spent so long being what she needed me to be, I had no idea what I actually wanted. But this time, I knew the question was real. It's been 3 months since that night. And honestly, everything is different now. Mom and I go shopping now. Real shopping. Not let's create content at the mall shopping. Just 2 people picking out clothes. We talk now. Like, really talk. About her fears. About my feelings. Last weekend, I invited Nina and Ethan over to my house. The house that used to be a film set. Mom didn't ask me to clean up for photos, didn't suggest we capture the moment. She just let us be teenagers. Mom still posts on social media, but it's different now. It's just her journey, her thoughts, her life. I'm not in the frame anymore. She's doing something new now. Mom started a talent management agency. She helps young influencers set boundaries, teaches parents how to support their kids without turning them into products. She told me last week, "I don't want any other kid to go through what you did. I don't want any other parent to become what I became." Some evenings we cook together. Badly. We're both terrible at it. But we laugh about the burnt pasta and the over-salted soup. And Mom doesn't reach for her phone to document it. She just lives it. She checks in on me now. Not, "How's your engagement rate?" but, "How was your math test?" I spent years being the perfect daughter. Now I'm learning to just be a daughter. And that's more than enough. Love doesn't need an audience. It just needs to be real.